Welcome in to Palmetto Sports Daily on this Thursday edition. I'm Carmine Jame here in Greenville, joined by Kevin over in the Charleston area, Jill in Myrtle Beach, Conway, and Rick in the capital of Columbia. And we are talking about football ramping up. Of course, talking season's coming to a close and actual football season is beginning. But we still are hearing a lot of talk from the Carolina Panthers, and unfortunately some of that talk is about a hamstring injury to Chuba Hubbard, one of the star running backs on the team. Split a lot of carries last year with Rico Dowdle, the former Gamecock. Now Rico has left, unfortunately, because he had a few of those great games where he was just, talk about keep pounding the Panthers motto, and he was going for 200 yards a game for a 2 or 3 game stretch there. And so that was incredible, but he's gone, and Chuba is week to week with the hamstring. He will not play. Coach Dave Canales, there you can see Chuba right there in the white t-shirt, limping a little bit, got a leg sleeve on, and so he was at practice, but there are a lot of other running backs who could fill his shoes. A.J. Dillon coming over from the Green Bay Packers. You'll see him right there. Quadzilla is his nickname because a combination of Godzilla and his incredible quads you see right there. He's got a lot of strength and power. Also in that running back room, Jonathan Brooks coming back from his second torn ACL. And if you followed the Panthers, you know the tough road he's had coming back from the ACL tear that he had at Texas, being picked in the second round by the Panthers a couple years ago, tearing his ACL in his only game with the Panthers again, trying to come back from that again, along with other injuries. So Trevor Etienne from Georgia, he's on the team too, and a couple rookies, Miles Davis from Utah and Anthony Tyus III from Ohio University. So, of course, they'll cut that down, but let's hear from Dave Canales about Chuba Hubbard, who is the number 1 running back for now.
Yeah, we got an MRI on it. He got a hamstring. It's a legit hamstring. It's week to week right now, the way we see it. So we're going to get him in RTP. We're going to get him some treatment. Very confident he'll be ready for game 1. Trying to get him out there sooner than that. But again, we'll be smart about it. We'll get him back in the appropriate time.
So that's good to hear. Not a major injury, but you do want your guys to get some preseason action, although for the Panthers, they really don't, as we saw last season with Dave Canales not playing very many starters. So for this game upcoming against the Bills, Saturday, 1 p.m., the first, I guess, legit preseason game or preseason game in the schedule, because the Panthers had the Hall of Fame game with the hero Haynes King earning his crown on that last-second touchdown to win it. But Kevin, Jonathan Brooks going to get the start at running back in this game, the first of the 3 regular preseason games that are on the schedule. What are your thoughts or concerns about the running back room as it stands right now?
Well, I have concerns every position for the Panthers at this point, because this preseason has been pretty much nothing short of a disaster for Carolina. It seems like every day we come out here talking about them and someone else is nicked up, someone else is injured, someone else isn't going to be able to play. And this is just lining up to be the season from hell for Carolina after they surprised everyone last year, make a run to the playoffs. It just seems like nothing can go right for them so far in this preseason. We learned today also, you mentioned they're going up to Buffalo to play the Bills on Saturday for their first official preseason game. Buffalo's already said they're going to play their starters in this game, at least for a little while. So Josh Allen going to be out there for that opening series for Buffalo as the Bills introduce their new stadium to the city coming up this weekend. So it's just been all kinds of problems for Carolina. At this point, I have no confidence that anything's going well. And Rick, we keep talking about how we'd like to see the starters get in there and get a little bit more playing time. But at this point, I'm afraid to throw anyone out there unless they're, completely cased in bubble wrap.
Yeah, it seems like every week this preseason, there's been at least one injury to a significant Panthers player. And with Chuba Hubbard, you got to be real careful with him with this hamstring. Maybe it's not a major issue, as a minor hamstring pull, I guess. But you come back too soon, you overwork it, and you could be dealing with something even worse, like a torn hamstring. So, yeah, you got to be careful with him. And then Jonathan Brooks, he's been injury-prone over his career, coming back from 2 ACL injuries. And so if I'm Dave Canales, I'm going, hey, you know what? I want to get my starters ready. But the way this season has been going, this preseason, I got to be extra careful that no one else gets hurt. Jill?
Yeah, I think at the start of this season, I was saying to myself, you know what, this is normal. Injuries, bumps happen at the beginning of training camp for every team in the NFL, but now it's kind of gotten to the point where it feels egregious. We've all said that it feels like every week there's another injury coming out of this Panthers team, and that is the case, and it's happening to a lot of their key players, which is a cause for concern. The question is, should Dave Canales limit the number of snaps that these starters are taking? I know that he said that they will be playing, but maybe that initial number that he had in his head should be drawn back a little bit, because the last thing you want is the rest of your starters that you do have to potentially get injured against the Bills.
Yeah, good point, Jill. It's always that tightrope walk of wanting the guys to get experience, especially since you have a bunch of new ones, and then not wanting them to get hurt. And a lot of these injuries are coming in practice, too. So maybe the game is the safest part. I mean, who knows at this point? Just kind of a freak thing for these guys to, be getting hurt. But we'll see what happens taking on the Bills. Hopefully the Bills Mafia takes it easy on the Panthers, because opening up that new stadium, they're going to be very excited, even though it's just a preseason game. We are also very excited. We're going to hear from a Panthers player who basically never gets hurt and has the most snaps played of all time right after this. Welcome back to Palmetto Sports Daily. We're going to get to some college football with the Gamecocks, Coastal, and also this very strange situation with former LSU Heisman Trophy winning quarterback Jaden Daniels in just a few moments. But first, let's stick with the Panthers and one of the longest tenured Panthers, I think it actually is, of all time. Most snaps played ever in Panthers history, and this was back in 2022. J.J. Jansen, the long snapper for the Carolina Panthers, spoke one-on-one with our Palmetto Sports reporter, Caroline Soro. Let's see their conversation right here.
Year 18 in the league for you. You just signed a one-year deal again with the Panthers over the course of the offseason. You have 4 kids at home. You just hit the big 4-0. What is it that makes you keep coming back to football?
I love this. Like, I get to play a kid's game. I'm an adult playing a kid's game. I love the competition. And look, this is a special place. Charlotte and the Carolinas for me and my family. Very few players get to live in their hometown. We've been here now for 17 years.
You've been playing a lot of football here in Carolina. 277 games with the
Panthers.
Panthers. Yeah,
oh
yeah.
My gosh, good.
277. You hold the franchise record for the most games played. And I don't know if you know this, but if you play the first 6 games of the season, you'll move into 3rd all-time in the NFL's list of consecutive games played. Is that something that you think about at all?
No, I spend most of my time just surviving each game individually. So. That's pretty cool. Look, it's awesome. When I first got to Carolina, it was in 2009. John Casey he was about 40 years old at the time. I was the young kid. I was 22, 23 years old. And I remember the very first punt, I ran down the field, and I kind of got juked, and I fell on the ground. And John, as he often would, he would stand right at the white line, and he was kind of doing one of these numbers at me, and he said, your job is to snap the ball, protect the punter, and don't get hurt. So I've spent my whole career trying to just do those things.
How do you kind of hope to pass on your legacy to some of the younger players that come through this place?
Well, I don't know that there's any legacy passing. I tell guys all the time, like I don't have a whole lot of original thoughts. It's things that I was taught when I was 22, 23, 24 years old. And what's really been funny is most of my teammates are closer in age to my kids than they are to me. So how that helps me a lot is I actually know what's going on in the pop culture world because of my kids. So we have like a new connection. So that is, I've still got my beard. I haven't shaved yet for the week, so I got a little gray. They all know I'm old, but I think of myself as young. So they accept me in slowly but surely.
JJ, I know you watched one of your best friends, Luke Kuechly, get his gold jacket over the weekend. I know you were there, obviously, of course, for the Hall of Fame game, but just being able to watch him get that achievement, put the gold jacket on, what was that like for you, somebody that knows him, played with him, and knows him so well?
It was really special to watch. That was my first feeling. The second one was I kept crying every time one of his parents cried. So you're up there sort of imagining, hey, that's my friend, someone I played with, and all that great stuff. But then the family members and friends along the way, and of course that speech was the quintessential Luke Kuechly speech. Getting getting through all the names, making sure everyone didn't talk about himself a single time. And I was jokingly saying, like, I was trying to applaud on his lines as often as possible to give him a break, because I am certain as he wrote it, he never considered, oh, that'll be a great line, I'll wait for everyone to applaud for the thing I just said. I'm gonna like, and so like I was like, I just want to give him a little breather. Like he was awesome. He was so fantastic, and it was about everybody else. Seeing all those Hall of Famers, seeing old teammates, like it felt like a football wedding. Luke brought us all together, which is exactly what Luke would do, is try to get all of his old teammates together. So that was really, really special.
We really appreciate you taking the time. Great to talk to you.
Absolutely.
Here in Charlotte for Palmetto Sports, I'm Caroline Soro.
And we'll hold for applause for that great interview, just like JJ told us to do for Luke Kuechly's speech. No, great job there, everyone, and especially Caroline and JJ. But cool perspective there. I think he even hit the whip and nene, which is pop culture that he brought from his youngsters, and relating to his kids, not to his kids, but to his players who are almost the same age as his kids, as his new teammates. So good perspective there from JJ. Rick, what did you take away from the interview there and just the longevity? I know we don't really think of long snappers. The only time you think of a long snapper is if they mess up the snap. And so he's got to do basically one job or three jobs, like he said, protect the quarterback, make the snap, don't get hurt. But he's done it great, and almost 20 years now in the NFL, so pretty great run for him.
Yeah, hey, much props to the old guys. I can relate. But hey, I've got to knock him down a few points. You know, the whip and the nay-nay. I mean, that's so yesterday. I mean, come on, JJ. Let's get with the current stuff that's out there. But yeah, what an entertaining interview that was. I especially like the line he delivered about, I don't have any original thoughts now. But yeah, snap the ball, protect the punter, and don't get hurt. So, okay, if someone is breaking it and he's the one guy in between the returner and the goal line, is he going to throw his head out there to make the tackle? That's what I'm going to be watching. But no, much respect to him, and I hope he continues to play many more years.
Yeah, I was surprised that he holds the record for most snaps in a career. I would figure most games, but you figure the long snapper's not out there for a bunch of plays every game. So, but to be able to accumulate that many over the course of 18 seasons in Carolina is really impressive. And you can tell off the field he's a great leader for this team as well, and he's most likely a really valuable locker room guy to have there in Carolina, Jill.
Yeah, long snappers, punters, kickers, I always say they got some of the best jobs in the NFL. However, there is a lot of pressure because no one notices sometimes when they do really well, it's only when you mess up. So it's one of those positions where there is a little sneaky amount of pressure, and he seems to be handling it well, staying in the same place for so long. And that also leads to his career longevity. So good on him. He seems to have a good head on his shoulders.
Mm-hmm. Yes, we got to thank those unsung heroes like the Philip Florenzos of the world for Clemson football, the longtime long snapper for them. And our producer, Nick Harvey, also an unsung hero. He's telling us we have to go to break, but we'll be right back to talk some college football right after this.
And welcome back to Palmetto Sports Daily. We open up the show talking some NFL with the Carolina Panthers. Now we're going to switch over to college football and the University of South Carolina Gamecocks. So wrapping up their first week of fall camp. They got underway last Friday. And Donovan Murph, a local kid from here in the Irmo area, he's preparing for his second year as a receiver for USC. And now he had his moments last year. And he's the cousin of former Gamecock and NFL star receiver Alshon Jeffrey. Donovan was Carolina's sixth leading receiver last season. He had 14 catches for nearly 200 yards and 1 touchdown. Overall, Murph says his freshman year was a good learning experience.
Last year really matured me, not only on the field but off it. It just made me a better person, with time management. I think I did well with, helping the team any way I could. When my number was called, I got in there and did what I could. And, this year I'm just trying to continue to do that, continue to help the team win.
Now, Murph has plenty of competition to be quarterback Lenore Sellers' favorite target. Nick Harbor, he's the top returning receiver with 30 catches for over 600 yards and 6 touchdowns. Jaden Sellers, the younger brother of Lenore's, was the team's third leading receiver despite playing in only 7 games. Now, Donovan says having a talented receiver room helps everyone get better. Now, last year when they brought in a lot of these young freshman receivers, and you saw them getting some playing time, a spot here, a spot there, and I kept wondering, hey, how come these guys aren't getting more time? You look at a guy like Jaden Sellers, only played in 7 games, and he was the team's third leading receiver. And Murph didn't see a lot of playing time either, but you could see the talent, and he was able to make plays in his limited time out on the field. Now with Kendall Browse as the new offensive coordinator, all of those guys should be able to get a little more playing time, you'd hope. And so the Gamecocks have their first scrimmage coming up on Saturday. As a matter of fact, their first time in full pads will be Friday. So, yeah, they're ramping up the physicality and the intensity right away. And so some of the things that Shane Beamer says he's going to be looking for is to evaluate how much progress they made here in the early days of camp. Let's listen to Shane right now.
Yes, certainly. I think anytime you can be in a scrimmage situation where coaches aren't on the field, you're in the stadium, the lights are on, it's a great teaching tool, and it's a great barometer for us of where we are, just to be able to kind of see, mentally, physically, who can handle what right now. And again, no matter, that'll be a data point for us. I'm using 2024 college football playoff stuff that still irritates me, but that's a data point for us in regards to what we'll see on Saturday. But every day in practice is that. But, coaches are off the field and the way that we do scrimmages, and the players got to be able to go out there and execute. And there are some position battles, special teams battles, all that every practice is important, but Saturday is kind of the culmination of the week. And then we'll see where guys are and where we are as a team after Saturday. And then, next week will be another critical week for us in camp, and then really hone in on things after that second week.
Okay, so all the scrimmages are closed to the media and to the public. And so it'll be interesting to hear what the coaches have to say following the scrimmages, like who really stood out. And also the players will be given some insight as well, because the scrimmages are where people can start to separate themselves and maybe start moving up the depth chart, or perhaps protecting their position on the depth chart. Jill?
Same thing going on for Coastal Carolina. They have their first scrimmage this Saturday, but aside from that, they announced yesterday that they're introducing a new coaches show that will happen throughout the season every single Tuesday, starting September 1st before their first game on September 5th against West Virginia. It will be Ryan Beard in downtown Conway, among with some other various players rotating through that show throughout the course of the season. And it just seems like another layer and piece that Beard and his staff is trying to kind of establish this program more, trying to bring them down to the community, to make them more available to answer questions, sign autographs, and just give Teal Nation more of a chance to rally behind this team. This is just one of the many, many changes that we're seeing within this staff, but it should be very interesting. I also do like that it is happening every single week throughout the season. It's not just that first Tuesday before the first game of the season. So we'll see how that goes. But yeah, it's going to be very interesting, and I do like that he's instilling this as one of the many changes that he's making to this program, and we'll see how this continues to go on, especially, like I mentioned, with their first scrimmage set for Saturday. But we're going to take a quick break here for Palmetto Sports Daily.
Welcome back into Palmetto Sports Daily. We wrap up with, just a weird story out of LSU where former Heisman Trophy winner Jaden Daniels is for some reason upset that another player on the LSU roster is now wearing his old number 5, and they didn't ask him for permission or go through him. So he's upset about this. He's asking LSU to stop using his name, image, and likeness throughout the campus. Not sure how much they're even using of that at this point, so that's seemingly a moot point. He's also asked for them to give up their copy of his Heisman Trophy. I don't know what he wants to do. He has his own. The school gets their own. He wants the school's copy now. I don't know why they would do that. They've said they're not going to do that. So all kinds of craziness coming out about this today. Maybe the best response, though, comes from right here in the Low Country with the Charleston River Dogs, who tweeted this out earlier this afternoon. A note to Jaden Daniels that says, if you come and play one game with the River Dogs, they will retire his number immediately, and they won't give it out to anyone else next year. So that's signed the River Dogs. So Jaden Daniels, the offer is here. Just come play one game over at Joe Riley Park, and you'll have the number 5 hanging up on the wall within probably days, knowing how good the staff is over there, Carmine.
Wow, that's quite the offer, and might be very tempting for Jaden Daniels, who seems to be very upset that somebody else is using his number. But just to add a few more details, this is DJ Pickett, the cornerback for LSU. Apparently, the former head coach Brian Kelly promised Pickett he'd be able to wear number 5, but then Kelly checked with Jaden Daniels. Jaden would be upset if his number was given out, and so he wore number 3 last year in his freshman All-American season. But then Lane Kiffin comes in and I guess talks to Pickett again and says, well, this promise was made to you before I got here, so I'm going to honor that and give you number 5, even though that's going to upset Jaden Daniels. Jaden seems to have really retaliated. His team is very upset. They're trying to not allow LSU to profit off of any NIL in this situation. And so just a crazy situation. Very distracting to an already distracting team before they take on Clemson in game 1 here, Jill.
Yeah, I mean, your number's not retired. That's all I have to say. That's Rick.
Yes, I'll just ultra petty. Quite a shame. Jaden Daniels, do better. All right, that's going to wrap it up for Palmetto Sports Daily. Have a great evening, and we'll check in with you tomorrow.